I was
Oh,
going
second time's a charm, right?
to. I'm so happy. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me. This is so exciting.
We've all been excited. We've all been looking forward to it. I'm
Oh,
sure my team members are at the background. That's one of them. Say hi to Michelle. He's a doctor. He's one of us.
ooh. Hi. We like doctors. Yay.
Okay, thank you. So it's not going to be too lengthy. It's going to be a brief one, but
Okay.
we'll go straight to the point. So let's kick off because we're behind time already.
Okay.
So this is how we go. I say hello to everyone. I introduce you, and then we start with the questions.
Okay.
Okay. So thank you for joining in. I'm seeing a lot of our friends. Goodwill Osakwe is already there. I can see Jay Barry. Thank you. The response to the broadcast has been so encouraging. Every time we come up, our friends join in, and their contributions and suggestions have been so, so awesome. So please keep bringing them in today as well. We are the Society Empowerment for Transformation Initiative, SETI for short. And we are a non-governmental organization, a non-profit organization based here in Nigeria, in Port Harcourt. Many of us don't know Port Harcourt, especially for people like Michelle, but it's based in Nigeria. And what we do in SETI is we bring information to women and children and for women and children. We carry out skills acquisition for empowering them, developing their and building their capacities to become agents of change. We also help through education, information about their health, as well as carry out a couple of free medical outreach. All of this is just to help the woman and the child in our society so that they themselves can be so independent and able to give back to the society. So today, we're talking about something that is very key, very important in this time, and it is the taboo called incest. Many of us know it, and some of us will be learning a lot about it today because we have someone here who will tell us a lot about it. She has a book on it. The person I'm about to introduce to you, she's a published author. The title of her book is We Stay in Our Own Tree. She's also a children's sexual abuse advocate, a child sexual abuse advocate, and a mother and a wife. So without further ado, I want to welcome, it's a privilege to have you here with us, Michelle Barry.
Thank you so much, Nellie. I'm so honored that you have me on and that I can help in any way.
Yeah. You are a blessing to this generation. Your book has blessed lives. Thank you for taking the courage to write that book. Can you just say a little bit about it before we go into the questions?
The book is about incest. It's basically that's the main part of it. It's also about domestic abuse. And about how to survive it and get to the point where it doesn't define you.
Exactly, exactly.
And it's to help, it's to reach out to those that have survived it or that are going through it. And hopefully to educate people and to get them talking about it. Make them aware that this is going on.
Exactly. I think you've come to the right place. Before I continue, God's will, somebody in the audience is saying, "Hi, Michelle."
Oh, hi! It's so nice to meet you.
So I'm so happy you said what you said because in this present time, especially in Nigeria, a lot of people are going through a lot. In Nigeria, I guess I told you off, before we came on, that it's like a common thing right now. There's been so much abuse, domestic abuse, gender-based violence issues, rape issues in Nigeria. I'm sure it's all over the world, but I'm speaking for us here because it's been a very challenging issue here in Nigeria because of the high increase in its occurrences. It's been occurring from time to time, time to time. We're looking for how to curb it. So this is the right time for your book, to come and help people, first of all, reduce the stigma, What people have that stigma, like they feel stigmatized to come out to share their story, to tell people, oh, I'm a victim or a survivor of incest. They don't want to do that because of the stigma. But, because people like you have taken the courage to do it, I'm sure there will be many other people who will come out and, share their stories and help others as well. So thank you.
I hope so. I mean, I know it's hard to come out and talk about it. I know that personally. But if you can do that, you're going to take your power back. And it's going to help you heal. And just you need to know that there are so many others out there and that you're not the only one. And if you can just tell one person and say it, and if they don't help you, you go to the next person and the next. Because somebody out there will help you and they will listen. And the more our voices are heard, the more people are going to listen. And I know it's a stigma, but if we start talking about it and people start telling their stories, it won't be a stigma anymore.
Exactly. That's what we need here in Nigeria. Because the only thing that can destigmatize is the more voices that there are, the more the voices. And that's why we are encouraging people. We are shouting it out. Our posts have been all about it. Our broadcast has been all about it. Telling people it's not our fault. It's not the fault of the survivors. It's not their fault. So why should we? You were going to say something.
You need to get angry. You need to say, the shame that I feel, the shame is on them, not you.
Yes.
It's their doing, not you.
Yes. Yeah.
And you're not alone. And I get that shame. But once you tell somebody, you're taking that back and you're putting the shame on them.
Exactly.
They need to know what's wrong. Sometimes predators, especially like you said, in Nigeria, the culture is different. It doesn't matter. It's wrong in any country, in the US, Nigeria, anywhere. It is wrong for someone else to touch your body.
Exactly.
And it doesn't matter who it is. If it's your father, your brother, your doctor, your neighbor, anyone does not have the right to touch your body if you do not want them to.
You do not want them to. God's will is saying, speak up and gain your power back.
Yes.
Thank you, God's will. Thank you. Okay, first question. I love the way it's going. I love the fact that people are already feeling free. I just want us to feel free and express ourselves.
Yes.
It's not. We are not in a straitjacket. Nobody is looking at. It's not something that people are going to, give us scores for. We are saying the truth and we're saying it from our hearts. So let's feel free.
Yeah. And we're together in this. We're together in this.
Yeah. So the first question I want to ask is, can we just let people really understand what incest is? Because like I told you the other time, people may have experienced it, but they do not know that it's called incest. Some people are going through it even as I'm speaking, but some people even feel it's okay. They feel it's like culture have allowed them to go through certain things and they feel it's okay. Just spell out what incest is and the evil it is.
Okay, incest, the word incest is just a word that the
Okay.
United States came up with. And what technically it means, it's if anybody within your family unit touches you, kisses you, tries to have sex with you, any of those things. That's a technical word for incest. But if it might be, you might think about it something different in Nigeria, but it is the same thing. It is wrong. It is wrong no matter what your culture says. It's wrong if somebody is touching you and you don't want them to. If it's your brother, your father, your uncle, even your mother, they do not have that right to touch you.
Exactly.
And if they do, you have to say something. And you have to educate yourself so you can educate your children.
Exactly. Exactly.
So even if it's not happening to you, you see it somewhere happening to somebody else, speak up. It is wrong in all cultures. And I know it's going to change. Culture or not, there, it's wrong. And here it's against the law. So we have it a lot easier than you do. So I do understand how it is for you to come out and tell somebody. But somebody will listen. You just have to make that first step and find the courage to tell somebody. I don't know if that explains.
No, it does make a lot of sense. I like what you're saying. You know, like most of the time we do this broadcast, many times the people who come on the broadcast may not be survivors, like victims of this abuse, but they know one or two people who are going through it. And so
Yes.
they help them. They give them, you know, the information they gather from here, they pass it on to them. And that is what this broadcast is about. We may not get, you know, we may not have access to the, you know, the direct survivors, but somehow they get this information. Sometimes when we post them on our pages, we get responses because they learn a lot and they get information that helps them come out of their situation and circumstances. So thank you, Michelle. You said a lot. Now, the next thing I want us to talk about is, you know, like you said in your book, you don't want it to make it look like incest is more painful than other form of abuse. But it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. So can we spell out those things that makes it different?
It's not the same thing. Say you get raped by a stranger or a neighbor. I'm not saying it's easier, but you have more access to someone to say, oh, that's wrong. When you're getting abused in a family, it's hard because the family is your support group. So it's harder to come out and say, this is wrong. I don't want you to do it because, you know, you might depend on them for survival. You might depend on them just for different kinds of support.
Yeah.
It's harder because you're messing around with your family dynamics and you don't know if they're going to believe you. You don't know if they're going to stand behind you. And that's why if you can't tell someone in your family, you have to go beyond the family and tell somebody to help you get out of that situation because it's hard and you get that. You know, there's more because it's such a secret because in a family, having sex within the family is so wrong. They want you to keep it a secret. And so it is harder to say something then versus if you got abused by somebody else.
Yeah.
I don't know if that helps.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, like you rightly said, the difference is in the violators, the people who are responsible for the act, being closely knitted to the people, the survivors, and it makes it more painful. It makes it more difficult to come out of it. And so it's very peculiar. It's different. Now,
It is because you start blaming yourself. You think, did I ask for this? You know, so it's hard to get past that self-blame. You just have to remember it's not your blame. It's you put the blame on them, not yourself.
Exactly.
It's their fault, not yours. You are the victim.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Someone is asking, and I don't think that question would be for you. You could share with us yours over there. He's asking, is there a capital punishment for incest here in Nigeria? Is there a capital punishment? Well, that's the funny thing. You remember I told you off the camera that in Nigeria, because of the way things are done, you could have a law in place, a national law in place, but is it being practiced in the states? Because, you know, the way Nigeria runs its things, sometimes a law can be there, but in the states, it could not be effective. It may not be effective. Now, to that question, there is a punishment. There is one they call the Criminal Code Act. So a minimum of 14 years imprisonment will be given to someone who is guilty of incestuous liaison offense against you know, if it's someone.
So what if people, I mean, is there a place to like write letters and say that we're outraged at this? You need to change this for all states.
I think
can we write? What can we do to?
I think that will be the next thing we can start with. After this, I think at least we'll start from where we are. We could write a letter and ask many people to, you know, endorse the letter, and then we could take it over to the state level to be approved in the law, by the law here in Rivers State where we are. So from there we can move on. But for now, I think that's the right thing. Every time we come for this broadcast, we learn something, we agree on something, and we carry out action. So probably that would be one of the things we could suggest. Although, based on my organization, we don't have the constitutional right to do that, but we could work with some people. We could tell some people who we know can do it to begin to carry that out.
Okay.
Yeah. So the next discussion we will continue with is how damaging can this be? I know every form of sexual abuse usually leaves the survivor in some level of damaged state. But like we have
yeah, the ramifications of incest are horrific. The self-loathing that you feel, you're going to carry out throughout your life unless you do something and you get help for it. How you feel insecure, you feel horrible about yourself, feel like you don't have a voice for someone to say no. And that's why I'm advocating so much to tell somebody, even if it's a neighbor, if it's a doctor, your dentist, anybody, tell them what you're feeling, what you're going through, and they can help you take the next steps to get help and to get out of that situation, because you don't need to feel this way. The abuse does not need to define you, who you are.
When I was talking with them, I had two people who were survivors, but not of incest. They were survivors of sexual abuse by, you know, people other than, yeah. And
Abuse is abuse.
some of them said they shared with us some of the aftermath effects on them. They said one of them said he became promiscuous. He started having um, urges to have illicit sex, and he could not define why he was doing that. He noticed he had more
That's
physical.
Yeah, that's normal. Believe it or not, that's really normal to do stuff like that too, because you don't know what the boundaries are. You were never taught that. And so your first reaction when you get out of that situation is to keep doing it because it feels comfortable to you. You know that. Like I said in my book, it was something that I knew I was good at. I knew that I felt comfortable doing it. So yeah, a lot of people will do that, or they hate sex. You know, it could go either way, you know, and the effects are just, you know, it's traumatic. You have PSD, you know, you get physical problems besides, you know, the mental issues of it. You can actually get physical problems from it too. It's just, there's just so many things.
So true. Physical problems, then the emotional ones too that we cannot even oversize. They're so they one of them said the emotional trauma is even worse than the physical ones, because those ones you don't really know how to handle them. And I think that's where you need a therapist and all that.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important to get help. You know, your first step is to tell somebody, and hopefully that person will point you in the right direction of getting out of the situation you're in. You need to get out of there if you can. If not, find your voice to tell that person no. Then you have to take the next step of talking to a professional that can help you understand all these feelings, because you feel like you're crazy sometimes. You know, you don't understand, why am I feeling this way? Why am I angry all the time? Why am I sad? Why do I just don't I want to give up? You know, why am I having sex with so many people? You know, why am I going into a bad relationship where that person's abusing me? The therapist will help you with all that and understand that. And once you understand, it's like a light bulb goes off. It's like, oh my God, I get why I have been feeling this way. I get why I've been acting this way. It all does make sense. And the therapist will help you get beyond that, where you can take your power back. All this stuff, you're not going to heal overnight. It does take time, but it can happen.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Incest is devastating to the victim. It actually causes emotional trauma and depression. It reduces the esteem of the victim. This act should be condemned nationally. Wow. That's a contribution from someone.
That is awesome. You're so right. It should not go on in any country. It's just wrong. Anytime someone touches you, it's wrong, unless you want them to. And we have to, the biggest thing is educating our children. If you have went through it and you can get out of that situation, make sure your children know it's not okay for anyone to touch them. That's their body. They own their body. They have a right to say, no, I don't like this touch. I don't like the way you're talking to me. I don't like the way you're touching me. You know, educating not just everybody else, but our children is going to stop it from going generation to generation. And that's a big thing with a lot of families. It just keeps going on until someone says, whoa, this isn't right.
Thank you so much. We have I think the broadcast after this, we'll be having someone who educates children on
awesome.
Yeah, that's what she does. she tries as much as possible to get people to be aware, and but mostly children to know. I think she has a program online called My Body is My Body. And so she takes
Oh,
time to tell children about their private parts, what should not be touched, what should not be, seen by other people, and, the boundaries. What are the boundaries? So
yeah,
she'll be cleaning up. I think that is very important. Thank you. Thank you for
it is.
mentioning that. And then you remember we were talking off the camera as well. I was trying to, relate why is it so important? Why survivors need to speak out before they really get, they recover from the trauma and the pain of the or the incidents in their lives. Why do they need to speak out first before they can recover? Some people go, I don't need to tell anybody, but I feel better already. Is it true? Is it possible? Did you get that?
Yeah. I think what they're doing is they're just surviving because they're keeping it all in. By talking to somebody and talking about it, you're taking your power back. If you just say, "Oh yeah, it happened to me, I'm over it," which I did personally, so I do get that. I do get that. And you think, "Oh, it happened, whatever, I'm good." You're not dealing with the after facts of it. You're still going to keep living with the ramifications of it, the low self-esteem, the choices that you're making might not be the best choices because it's what you know. By
Exactly.
talking to a therapist, they're going to help you understand what if those choices are right or wrong. And your feelings are going to help get those feelings out so you can make right choices and you can be happy with yourself. Once you get
Exactly.
your power back, it's the most awesome feeling. And also not just talking to the therapist, but by telling people what happened to you, you're helping so many other survivors find their voice. So sometimes it's not just about you, it's about helping other people. I didn't want to come out and tell everybody what happened to me. It was hard. It was really hard to be public with this. But once I started hearing other people come to me and say, "Yeah, this happened to me. Thank you for sharing your story." I was like, wow, maybe I am doing the right thing. And the more I went forward with it, and I felt like I got my power back by helping other people. And it's such a great feeling. And I want every survivor to feel that. You will feel so wonderful and so healed knowing that you're helping other people, other survivors, that you're educating their allies. Because there are so many people out there that want to help. We just have to find them. And the reason and how we're going to find them is voicing our stories.
For me, you're like a hero.
You're just so flattery. That's one of my things is I have a hard time taking compliments, but I'm working on it.
because I'm thinking how many people, through your books, through you coming to do this talk, how many lives you will be saving. So many people who are going through it, or those who are about to go into it, who will get this information that you're passing on and be able to get help before it happens. I'm telling you the truth. You are just like my hero.
Me cry.
It's those that
I just when you told me what was going on in Nigeria, Nellie, I know it's bad everywhere, but the stories were so horrific that it just, it really upset me. And That's why I want to try to help you in any way I can to make more voices there, to help more victims turn into survivors,
Yeah.
and to just get their voices back. So I will do
Yeah.
anything I can to help with
Yeah.
that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It shows where the the inspiration for your book came from. It shows that it's from the heart. And
It is.
I truly believe it will help millions of people. It shall.
That's just my goal in life now. This is my thing.
Okay. Thank you.
You
So
welcome.
before we wrap it up, please send in your suggestions, send in your questions before we finish this one because it's about to end. Now, what are the suggestions? What suggestions would you give to people like us here in Nigeria, where we still haven't got enough law to back us up in this fight? What do you think we can do? And while you were talking, you've raised the suggestion already that we should, try as much as possible to get people to write a letter, endorse it,
Mhm.
making our stand known. That, I mean, talk about it. Tell us, what do you suggest we can do to help survivors in this fight here in Nigeria?
Well, the survivors, I think, by saying something, by telling someone, again, anybody. And if that person doesn't do anything, you keep telling people until somebody listens. The other people that see this going on need to speak up too. And if you know, for other people in Nigeria, like yourselves, that are really trying to change the laws, I think if you can reach out to people in other countries, like me in the United States, somebody in England or whatever, if we can get them to start talking to your government, I think you're going to pay attention. I mean,
That
I think that's what happens in almost all governments. Mine is the same way. More people start talking about it and making a stink about it and saying, hey, this is wrong. You need to change it, and get in their face and say, we're not putting up with this. We're going to do something. We're going to make sure you do. You know, getting people like that behind you, I think, is really, really going to help. And I know it's hard because you guys don't have, technology so much there and stuff like that. But if you can, again, get somebody on your side that is willing to fight and to write letters and whatever we can do. I don't know if that answered that or not.
yeah, it does. It does. I'm going to try and share this with a couple of other people who I know. But there are some organizations who are already doing, like the law that's being proposed. It's not been
Mhm.
approved. There are some NGOs, I don't need to mention their names, that have already started what you have said. They have put, some laws in place, and they've recommended those laws and they are being passed, but they have not been approved yet. So that is
But the
ongoing.
government, your government too, has to help people like you that are trying to that are in where this is going on. They need to give funding to people like you to help them, because that's the
That's
bottom line. The laws can change, but
exactly.
it's the people on the ground that are in and by all these survivors that have got to be able to help them. You need that funding to give them medical care, to give them help, to talk to a therapist and things like that. So, I'm glad that you're getting to that point where the laws are going to change, but it's implementing them. That is going to be, I think you're really going to need the help with.
Exactly, implementing them because, for instance, like you rightly said, if we're going to go into the help, some of the kind of help that we should give to these survivors would be, like we mentioned the other time, providing um, homes of refuge for some of them
Yeah.
who probably, they need to get out of the place where they are to be safe. homes of refuge, you know, they need to be made a little more independent by providing them with some funds or some level of education or some level of skills. And all that, without that, some of these things will just not go away. Some people
Yeah.
would, you know, keep suffering. And truly, truly, the government needs to provide for all that, but we don't see all that. Most of the time, it's NGOs who source for funds from individuals, from other bodies that do that. I don't even know if there's a home of refuge provided by government here. I don't know, but even if there is, it must be a very small one because I still don't.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
But you know, these are the things we need, and we don't need one. We need so many of them, so that wherever they are they in the village, they can quickly find somewhere to run to and find, you know, safety. That way, these people who are violating them will know that these people they have like protection, and they would be
Yeah.
afraid to do it. But now
Yeah.
these women are so dependent on them. They're so dependent on them, so they feel they can just do anything they like.
Exactly. So you're educating them and getting them so they're independent from that. That's the thing with perpetrators. They want you to be dependent on them. So you feel like you can't leave. If it's an incest situation or domestic abuse, you know, it's all about that fear of leaving them and what do I do now? So if we can help get them, okay, they can survive themselves, you know, financially, mentally, you know, things like that will help them to leave.
So true. So true. Thank you, Michelle. Finally,
okay.
You know, it's so interesting. I don't want it to end, but we have to go now. Finally, a little bit about, you know, helping women gain back their voices, you know, be like the contribution that was said. He said is on you have to speak up to get back your power. It's like you lost your power.
Yep, power is awesome.
I know women love power.
Yeah, and we're loud too, man. We'll get right in your face.
Oh my God. Oh my God. So we thank God for that, because, you know, how does it feel to get back your power so that people will be encouraged? You know, we talked about how unreported the case of incest. If you were going to hear reported cases of abuse, incest is usually the least reported.
Yes, it is, because it's secret, it's taboo. And the more we voice it and tell somebody, the statistics is what's going to get people's attention. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of statistics on rape and other kinds of abuse, but because incest is so secret and no one reports it. Well, we have to start reporting it so we can get those statistics out. So people will start going, oh my God, really? That is going on? I didn't know about that. That's horrible. That gets people's attention. So when you voice that out, you're helping everybody. You're helping all those people that are in that situation. And getting that power back, well, I can't even tell you how awesome it is. You feel like you are just on top of the world. Yeah, and I know it's hard, and I get that. But if you can find that little bit of courage to take that first step, the second step will be a little bit easier than the third. And next thing you know, you are roaring. You are going. You're doing good.
Yes, thank you so much, Michelle. You said it. That's we'll wrap it up this evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nellie, so much. We'll keep in touch.
Yeah, I know somebody has been blessed. I know somebody has taken home something. I know someone has been blessed by these words. These are encouraging words. These are the truth. And these are the truths that will set people free from this evil called incest. So thank you for joining in. If you've joined in, thank you. There were so many contributions. I guess they were listening to you. I'm sure so many people.
If they want to talk to me, give them my email, whatever. I'll do whatever I can do to help, okay? I'll talk to myself directly.
Okay. Thank you so much. So,
bye. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.